Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you guys are doing really well. I wanted to sit down and film a Q&A video. I've been getting a lot of questions or a lot of requests to do more personal videos so you guys can get to know me a little bit more. I think when I film beauty videos, I'm usually so focused on the topic, whether it's like a specific product and I'm reviewing it or I'm applying my makeup. I have a hard time multitasking, so I don't typically share a whole lot about me in regular beauty videos. Honestly, I know your time is valuable and I just try to make sure my videos are as condensed as possible. So when I'm going through and editing, I just kind of cut out a lot of rambling. But I think because of that, a lot of you guys don't know a lot about me personally, or you feel like you don't see a lot of like my personality in my videos. I don't know. I'm a very low-key person, so I feel like how I am on camera is how I am in real life, but I feel like I probably don't share a lot about me personally. So I thought I would film a Q&A video because a lot of you have been asking for that. I asked you guys on Instagram to share some of your questions, so I'm going to go through and just answer as many as possible. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I won't share your username just in case you guys wanted the question to be anonymous, but the first one is, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about YouTube? That's an interesting one to kick it off. So my favorite thing about YouTube is definitely the community aspect. And for me, my community is like my subscriber base. Of course, I love making friends with other YouTubers and other creators, and there are so many amazing people on the platform, but I love interacting with you guys. The fact that I can post a YouTube video and you guys will watch it and leave comments, honestly, is just so crazy to me. It's such a surreal experience, but I love it. I think it is so much fun. I feel like I have thousands of friends that I can chat with about makeup, about personal life. I talk to a lot of you guys on Instagram and other social media just about your lives, and I know you guys. And it's just such a cool, fun experience, and that is definitely my favorite part. My least favorite part about YouTube is probably just that it's hard to please everyone. And I know you can't please everyone in life, but if you guys if you knew me in real life, like I'm a very easygoing, go with the flow, flexible type of person. So I feel like there aren't necessarily a lot of instances where somebody is, I guess, annoyed or offended by something that I do. I just don't feel like it happens very often. But on YouTube, I feel like someone somewhere always has an issue with something. It can be something so simple like the fact that if I wear a neutral eyeshadow look, I get comments that say, all I wear are neutral eyeshadow looks. But if I wear a colorful eyeshadow look, I get comments that say, all of my eyeshadow looks aren't wearable for the everyday person. Or if I talk about new makeup, people will say I'm promoting consumerism on my channel and I should really advocate for using up what you have. But if I talk about my favorite products that I've mentioned for months and months, people say that my videos are boring and I just talk about the same things over and over. So that is the tough part, because I think you're always going to have somebody who's not pleased with something you do, whether it's very serious or very simple. So that's been a big life lesson for me. I really cannot please everyone no matter what I do. So I think the more that I'm on YouTube, the older that I get, I kind of just do what I want to do, and whatever works for me, I just do it. If I want to wear purple eyeshadow, I wear purple eyeshadow. If I want to talk about my favorite new products, I talk about my favorite new products. But that's just something so small. I mean, the good definitely outweighs the bad. The fact that there are so many kind, supportive people that watch my channel is honestly amazing to me. But that would have to be my favorite and my least favorite parts about YouTube. Okay, the next question is, how's the weight loss going? Are you doing keto? I actually got quite a few questions like that, like how's everything going with your health and fitness journey? You look amazing. That is so nice of you. Like, thank you guys so much for your kind words whenever I post a picture or just, on social media in general. I started my health and fitness journey probably like a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit longer. I never filmed a dedicated video on it just because I didn't really get around to it. I felt like I just kind of wanted to do it for myself and not necessarily put it out there, because honestly, I've tried so many times to lose weight and I've been unsuccessful so many times. So I felt a little bit nervous about like posting a video that I was on this health and fitness journey without actually losing weight and getting healthy first. But it is something that I might make a video on because I know a lot of people just struggle with it in general. So in the first year, I lost 30 pounds, which was great. I felt like it was a little bit more of like a slow weight loss, but that's kind of what I wanted. I just wanted it to be very sustainable, very practical. So I did take the full year to lose those 30 pounds and I was able to keep it off. I did gain about 5 pounds over the summer, but I think that I still lost some inches just because I was working out fairly regularly. So I do want to lose more weight. Honestly, in 2019, I have not been very strict when it comes to my eating. That's where I struggle the most. I'm very consistent with exercise, but I feel like this summer was so crazy. So during the month of September, I've really been getting back to it, and I'm planning on being a little bit more strict in September, October, November, and December. Nothing too crazy because, again, honestly, I'm just trying to make like a true lifestyle change, which is why I think it's been a little bit more slow than I anticipated. I feel like I've been doing well though. I exercise probably like 5 times a week. I do go to a gym where we focus on strength training, and I work out in like a small group fitness type of setting. And then I also do spin class, which is something that I started, I think, in like April or May, and I love it so much. I never thought that I'd be into it, but it's such like a rush. It's such a stress reliever, and I think that has been one of my favorite things when it comes to fitness. Oh, but no, I'm not keto. I do follow a mostly plant-based diet. I am a vegetarian, so I don't eat meat. So I think it would be a little bit more difficult. I'm sure that you could do keto on a plant-based diet. Maybe. I think it might be a little bit more difficult. I don't know the ins and outs of keto, so I can't say for sure, but no, I don't follow that. I eat like salad for lunch. At night we eat like chickpea tacos, or like some kind of like grain bowl with vegetables, or like a vegetable chili, just a lot of vegetables and beans and things like that. So the next question is, have you had any cosmetic procedures? Just interested, not judging. I have not had any cosmetic procedures done. I don't think that I'm necessarily opposed to it, for me personally. I mean, if you want to get something done, go for it. That's none of my business. I don't judge at all either. I think whatever works well for you, you do it. For me personally, I just don't think there's been anything that I've really been interested in enough to actually go through with. I think for a while I considered lip filler, but I just feel like I didn't care enough to actually get it done. I have really considered microblading. I don't know if that's technically considered a cosmetic procedure. I'm sure it is. That's like the one thing that's really intrigued me the most. I just live in such an area where I feel like it can be difficult to get like certain things, like certain beauty services done. So I feel like I'd have to really do my research before I went through with that, but that's about it. Next question. It's fall. Got any plans for the season? House decor, apple picking, Halloween costumes? I'm so excited for fall. I was kind of in this mood where I didn't want summer to end for a little while, but honestly, now that it's officially fall, I'm embracing it, and I'm excited for fall and the holiday season and winter. But as for activities, we have been spending like almost every weekend at the orchard, like the local orchard or the pumpkin patch. We actually got like season passes this year because my sister has 2 little girls, and we spend a lot of time together, my entire family. So on the weekends, we usually just go to the orchard and hang out with them, do some apple picking, or we've been going to the pumpkin patch now that it's open. Yeah, we just like to spend time together enjoying the fall season. But we have a fall festival coming up where we like ride the ski lift up to the top and look at the leaves, and I do love the fall season. It's so beautiful, and I am excited. Okay, the next question, weight loss and exercise tips. I kind of touched on this earlier, but you know, honestly, the big thing for me when it comes to exercise is accountability. I've always had such a hard time sticking to an exercise schedule. Like if I just buy a membership to the gym, chances are I'm not going to go. And for me, what I did this time around to really lose the weight was actually pay to go to work out with a trainer, not a personal trainer. Well, it is kind of like a personal trainer, but I work out in a small group setting. So there can be anywhere from like 3 to 6 people there. But I actually like that better because I feel like I've really gotten to know the people that I work out with. And that's also like added accountability because when they haven't seen me for a while, they'll be like, what have you been up to? And I just feel like when people are expecting you to show up, that makes a difference, at least for me personally. And like I said, I pay whether or not I show up, so you better believe I'm showing up since I'm paying for it. But I watched so many YouTube videos on like weight loss stories and exercise tips, and I felt like, you know, whatever worked for them didn't always necessarily work well for me, even when I tried to implement it into my life. So you just have to find what works for you. You have to find exercise that you're going to stick to, whether it's something like Zumba or cardio or working out outside or weightlifting. Weightlifting has been amazing for me because I've seen changes in my body and I don't dread it. And of course, spin. Like I said, I love going to spin class. When it comes to eating, that's where I struggle a little bit more, but I find that if I'm honest and I'm like tracking my food, that that really keeps me accountable, because in my mind I'll be like, oh yeah, I ate really healthy last week. I, stuck to portion control. I didn't snack. But when I think through what I actually ate, chances are I probably did. So when I'm tracking everything, I use MyFitnessPal. That works really well for me. So again, I could film like an entire video on what I've done if you guys are interested. I'm not an expert, but maybe just some like practical tips from somebody who's just like you will help. Have you read any good books lately? Yes, actually, I've been on a reading kick in 2019. My goal was to read 19 books in 2019, and I think that I'm at like 21, 22. I think my goal for 2020 is going to be to read one book per week. I was thinking about doing more, but I think that's more of a realistic goal just because I do love reading and I've made it more of a priority this year. I do read books on my Kindle, but I also listen to audiobooks, and I know some people say audiobooks, like that doesn't count. That blows my mind because you're still consuming the information, and some people are auditory learners. I think that I'm more of an auditory learner than I thought I was. I have a very short attention span, so if I'm reading a book and it doesn't intrigue me enough to keep my full attention, I find my mind wandering. I find myself like skipping down to the bottom of the page. So certain books that might have a little bit more information or that might be a little bit more boring are better for me when I listen to them, because I feel like I can consume the information, but I don't necessarily have to just be sitting there just focusing on that. So I love audiobooks, and I think if you want to read more, like if you want to consume more information, try audiobooks. I know a lot of people discount them, but I love it. I do both. But I recently read Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I'm working my way through the Harry Potter series again, so I'm currently on book 5. I'm always reading like a bunch of different books at the same time. I read like other fiction books I recently read. I read Where the Crawdads Sing. That's a book that had been on my list for a while, but I couldn't get into it at first. But once I got through like the first few chapters, I was into it. Honestly, we were on a cruise and I didn't have that many books downloaded on my Kindle, so I was kind of stuck with it, but I'm glad that I did because it was a really good book. A bunch of you guys actually recommended a book to me in one of my videos. It was called The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I also read that one on vacation, and that was a really interesting read. I think that I really got attached to like the characters in that book. And then I also read a book called The Cactus. That was one of like Reese Witherspoon's books. I think I listened to that one on Audible. That one was interesting as well. That's pretty much it for fiction. I have been listening to 2 like self-development books. I'm listening to Atomic Habits, which my mom recommended to me. I think that one's pretty high up. Like it's pretty popular right now. It's about like breaking bad habits, forming good habits. It's a little boring, but it is good. I've just listened to quite a few books on habits lately, so I feel like a lot of the information is the same. But I'm also listening to one called Never Split the Difference, which is really interesting. The author is like a former FBI hostage negotiator, so he has all kinds of interesting stories, and he just kind of teaches you different strategies about negotiation. So that one's been really interesting. But yeah, I would love to hear what you guys are into right now. As you can tell, my reading tastes are a little bit varied, so I'm open to reading anything. The next question says, is it hard overcoming the criticism you might receive on posts and videos? It can be hard. I feel like I'm a very sensitive person, and I tend to take things to heart, and not things like, oh, your eyeshadow looks bad today or your hair looks weird, but things that are like against me personally, like as a person. Like if somebody says, I don't think you're very honest because of this, or just something that's not in line with like who you are and your character, those are the posts or the comments that hurt the worst. And they're probably the ones that like cut the deepest at this point. I do let a lot of comments kind of roll off my back because it's just part of being on YouTube, but it does still suck. Like I'm only human. I think if I'm having like a bad day or a bad week or I'm feeling lousy, I do tend to skip over reading comments. Like YouTube will allow comments through and then it will hold comments for review and it will mark comments as spam. If I'm not feeling like the greatest or I'm just feeling like down, I'll only read the comments that are like published comments, because usually it catches any like hateful or rude comments, and I won't even go into like my folder for review or spam. So if you don't see your comments coming through and it's like a perfectly fine comment, a lot of times YouTube does mark random comments as like spam or holds them for review. So I don't always see every comment for that reason. But overall, like 99% of the time, I get so many kind, supportive comments. I really don't have like a angry comment section. Like, nobody is mean or hypercritical or overly rude. I get them every once in a while, but truthfully, I don't experience a lot of criticism. I will say that sometimes criticism is maybe justified. And when I first started YouTube, I maybe wouldn't take that into account. Like, a lot of people used to say, slow down, you talk way too fast. And I was like, that's just how I talk. Like, people should get over it. But maybe I was talking way too fast, and maybe people just wanted to be able to watch my videos and be able to keep up. So I feel like the older I get, the longer that I'm on YouTube, I do try to take criticism into account and see if I can learn from it. Some criticism, some hate is just unnecessary and, you know, it's unjustified, but I don't really receive a lot of that. Overall, I'm really thankful because I have such kind subscribers, such amazing viewers, and, you know, criticism is tough to take, but I just don't find that I come across it very often, which I am thankful for. Okay, the next question is, what was your first ever makeup purchase? I actually remember this so vividly. I was in 6th grade and I told my mom I wanted to start wearing makeup. So she took me to the drugstore, maybe it was like Walmart, and she bought me 3 different things. I got a CoverGirl blush. I also got everything was CoverGirl. I also got a CoverGirl eyeshadow trio that had like a light icy white shimmery shade, like a pink, and then a light brown. And then I also got a CoverGirl like powder foundation. I feel like it was a very random assortment of products, but yeah, those were my first makeup purchases back in the day. I think I was like 12 or 13, and I don't think I really ended up wearing the majority of them because I feel like at 12 or 13, you're not looking to apply like eyeshadow and blush, but yeah, I remember, I can like picture them in my mind. You can answer this in a Q&A, or I'd love to see a video on cruelty-free toiletries. I can definitely film a video on that. I think that's been a little bit more difficult for me than makeup. I went cruelty-free a few years ago, and I feel like at first I didn't think to replace a lot of my toiletries or household cleaning products or random things, but as I've kind of like gone through my cruelty-free journey, I have found a lot of good alternatives. So if that's something you guys want to see, let me know. Hair color. A lot of you guys ask about my hair color. Honestly, it's been the same for years at this point. I don't know the last time that I switched it up. I only dye my hair like once every 6 months. I get comments on like every video that are like, oh, did you dye your hair? I think it just looks different in the lighting, or depending on what I'm wearing, or if I'm out in the sun a lot, it gets a little bit lighter, but I really only dye it like twice a year because my natural hair is very dark, and the hair dye that I use just has like a slight reddish tint, but my natural hair has a little bit of a reddish tint as well. So what you're looking at now is like, I think I dyed it maybe in the spring, and it's just pretty much all faded at this point, but I do use a hair dye that's not cruelty-free. I kind of stocked up on it years ago because I just bought a bunch on Amazon because I thought they were discontinuing it. So I'm kind of working through that stash right now. It's from John Frieda. It is the foam hair color in like deep cherry brown, deep cherry red. Like I said, unfortunately, it's not cruelty-free. I don't even know if they still sell it in the store because honestly, I've just kind of had a bunch of boxes. They're probably expired. I probably should not be using them, but I've looked into cruelty-free hair dye, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of options. Either the colors are like very intense and colorful, or they're very subtle. So that is something I need to do more research on. If you guys have any recommendations for me, I would love to hear them, but I've been thinking about going to the salon and maybe switching it up. Did you go to college, and what was your major? I did. I originally went to college for counseling, and I wanted to work with children in that field in some sort of way, and I wasn't sure exactly how, but I actually ended up transferring my sophomore year and doing like a complete 180, and I went to school for business management, and I feel like that was a good choice. I mean, I don't have anything against working with children. I think people who do are amazing, and I actually have had a job where I had to work pretty closely with children and families, but I feel like business was perfect for me because it's such a practical degree. I loved my marketing classes. I loved just my business classes, and I felt like everything was very applicable no matter what I want to do in life. Like if I switch gears and I want to do something different, I feel like business is just very practical, and I'm glad that I decided to go for that. So I did. I got a degree in business management, and I don't regret it. I think it was an amazing experience. Do you still use the combo of Fenty and the Flower Beauty foundations? I haven't been using that lately because I've been testing out quite a few new foundations. I think now that you mention it, I kind of want to try it out again, but that's not something that I've been reaching for a whole lot, especially during like the main part of the summertime. That was maybe just slightly too hydrating. I reached for just the Fenty foundation a lot during the summer, but heading into fall and winter, I'll probably break that combo out again. Oh, speaking of foundation, what's your favorite foundation right now? The Catrice HD Liquid Foundation is my current favorite, or the new Makeup Revolution Hydrate Foundation. That one is so good. I don't think I've done a review on that, but I'm so impressed by that formula. I have a feeling it's going to be one of my go-tos during the fall and the winter. The next question is, would you consider including more lifestyle on your channel? I think my channel will always be mainly beauty. I don't really want to do like a 180 and switch up my channel, at least right now. I love beauty. I love makeup. I know a lot of people are feeling like disinterested in makeup because there are so many releases, but I love it. I think it is so much fun. It's one of my favorite things to do and just be able to relax and try out makeup. So I don't think I'll ever switch my channel's direction, but I would love to be able to include some of my other interests here and there. There's so much more that I love that I would love to be able to talk about. So I think it would be fun to be able to include more lifestyle on my channel. I just don't know exactly what and how to go about doing that, but it's something that I would definitely consider. What's your favorite non-beauty related thing to do? Honestly, I just love to be outside. I'll do anything outside. I love to go for walks with my husband. We love to go to the park and have dinner or like a quick lunch date. Even if we can just be outside for like 10 minutes at a time, it's my favorite. Where I live, it's winter like half the year. So for half the year, we're pretty much inside. Like you can go outside during the winter, but it's cold and rainy and dreary and dark, and I just love the spring and the summer and the fall where I can go to the park and just like sit by the water and eat lunch and hang out with my husband and our dogs, and I just love to be outside. What is your favorite workout wear? So I feel like I could actually use some suggestions for this. Old Navy makes my favorite workout pants. They are so good. They feel so high quality and they're affordable. They're always having sales. They have so many styles and colors to choose from. I feel like I don't have a go-to place for workout tops. So if you guys have any suggestions, honestly, I just wear a t-shirt. I'm not like super fancy when it comes to my workout clothes. I just kind of throw on whatever I have, but Old Navy makes the best workout leggings. They are my favorite. The next question is, do you ever think about moving to New York City? My husband and I love New York City so much. We only live about 2 hours away. So last year we were like, why don't we go very much? Like we're 2 hours away, and that's so crazy. I don't know if that will always be the case, if we'll always live where we live, but we decided to start going and we just love it so much. Like we want to spend all of our time there. And we actually have talked about the possibility of moving there, but there are a few things that are kind of holding us back. First of all, it's very expensive to live there. Like I've looked into apartments in different areas, and I have a house, like we purchased a house, and my mortgage is so insanely affordable compared to the cost of a New York City rental. Like a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom is like 5 times the cost of my mortgage, which is so crazy to me. So, I mean, that is definitely a big con, but otherwise we just love where we live. We love where we're at in life, like what we do. We're close to our family, and you know, everything is just here where we live. So I feel like to pick up and move, we'd be disrupting our lives. And, you know, I'm sure if the timing is right and the opportunities were right, we would love it. But at the same time, I just feel like we're very content and happy where we're at, and we love our lives here. So I don't think it's a possibility in the near future for us, but I don't know. I also kind of feel like people are always like, yeah, I would love to live here, but if I actually lived there, like, would it lose its charm? I mean, I know millions and millions of people live there and they love it, and I feel like for us, we probably would, but I don't know. I just feel like we're kind of happy where we are. Would you collab with a makeup brand? That would be amazing. I think it would be so much fun to collaborate with one of my favorite brands, but I also feel like it would be a lot of pressure. There are always so many new makeup releases every single week. So I think to be able to create something that people are interested in that they don't already have would be so difficult. I'm definitely not interested in creating like my own makeup line. That's not something that's really ever been a goal of mine, but I do think it would be cool to be able to collaborate with one of my favorite brands. But it would also be very difficult. So I don't know. It would have to be like the exact right opportunity. A lot of you guys are asking about my ethnicity, my parents, my background, that type of thing. My dad is Filipino. He's fully Filipino. So I am half Filipino. And then my mom is Puerto Rican and Irish. I want to take like a 23andMe test for sure because I'm not 100% sure about my mom's side, but I am half Filipino. A lot of you guys ask if I speak Tagalog. I don't, unfortunately. My dad was very young when he moved from the Philippines to Chicago, which is where he's from. He's the youngest of 7 siblings. I have such big families on both sides. Both of my parents are one of 7 siblings, so I have tons of cousins, tons of aunts and uncles, but unfortunately, I don't speak Tagalog. A lot of you guys ask if I speak Spanish, and unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish well either. I have a better grasp on Spanish because I did take it in high school and college, and honestly, I could speak it pretty well for a while. I can read it very well. Like if you guys leave comments in Spanish, I can understand what you're saying, and I feel like I can hear it, but I have a harder time speaking it. So that is one of my goals actually for 2020. I do want to understand Spanish pretty well. So I think I might do like Rosetta Stone or take some lessons, but that's something that I would love to be able to speak fluently. So I think that will be like my main goal for 2020. Okay, the next question is, do you want children someday? I got a lot of questions about kids, and I think I talked about this in my assumptions video. Honestly, it's something that my husband and I have gone back and forth on, like, do we want kids? When do we want kids? How many kids do we want? And we do want kids. I think we probably want them within the next year or two. So we're definitely getting to a point in life where like we're ready for kids. I think the last time I answered this question, we weren't so much there yet, but I think, we just kind of took our time. I don't have an issue with people like casually asking, like, do you want to have a family? Are you interested in having kids someday? Because I feel like that's a natural thing to be curious about. There's a difference between like asking people just because you're curious or your friends or it comes up in conversation versus like putting the pressure on. I even got comments on like my assumptions video from people saying like I was selfish for not having them yet, or when I grow up and realize what my priorities in life should be, then I'll have them. And I feel like, when are we going to stop telling people what to do with their lives, with their bodies? Like if nobody has told you, like, I'm here to tell you, your worth as a woman is not dependent on whether or not you have children. And weirdly enough, that's something that was never conveyed to me growing up. And I feel like that's something that I think is important to know, because even in 2019, I feel like there's still pressure from influences from people who think that to be worthy, you have to have children, you have to be a mother, like that's your sole purpose. Like literally someone just told me that like a few weeks ago. And it's so crazy to me. Like, it's 2019. Like, when are we going to understand that that's not true? I'm not saying that to downplay the importance of mothers and the role that they have in our lives. I think having children is amazing. Being a mother is amazing, but it's just not necessarily for everybody, or for everybody in certain times in their life. But not to get off on like a rant, that's just something that I feel very passionate about, because it's something that I struggled with for like the majority of my 20s, and just dealing with like that pressure and making up my own mind. So I feel like I could go off on that, but I'll spare you guys. Do you own a nail polish company? Okay, so if you are a super long time viewer of mine, or you've been around for a while, you might know that my sisters and I did have a nail polish company together, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. It actually like got a lot bigger than we thought it was going to be, but ultimately we decided to end it just because we were kind of pursuing different interests. We all had so much going on. I think my youngest sister was just starting school. Like, she's in school to be a PA, and I think she was just starting, and my other sister's a photographer and a mom, and I have a lot going on as well. So we just ultimately decided we couldn't put in the time needed to make the company grow, because it was growing really fast, which is amazing. And part of me wishes that we stuck with it, but it just wasn't really practical for us at that point in our lives to keep going. So we did have a nail polish brand. It was cruelty free. It was free from a lot of the harsh chemicals, which is kind of like a thing with nail polish at this point. At that point, there weren't a ton of brands really focusing on that. There were some, but yeah, it was really fun. We did have one for a few years. Okay, the next question is, tell us more about your pugs. I do have 2, and I love them so much. I mean, Charlie is technically a jug. He's like a Jack Russell pug mix, but Kenny is more of a pug. Charlie's 6, Kenny's 5. Kenny is a girl. Her name's Kennedy, but we call her Kenny, and they're so funny. I love them so much. They're great. They shed a lot. They bark a lot. They're very cuddly, and they're just the best. They're very needy dogs. I feel like they always have to be with us. They always have to be cuddling with us, and they're just a lot of fun to have. I really do love having them. How many siblings do you have? Will they ever be in your videos? I do have 2 sisters. We filmed a video a long time ago. Like, back in the day when I first started my channel, we did like a sister tag, and I don't even know how many years ago that was, but I don't even know if it's still up on my channel, but I would love to have them on my channel. I don't think they're like sold about being on my channel. They both say they'll be awkward on camera, but I think it would be fun. My one sister, her name is Alexa. She is in PA school. She's almost finished. She's in her last year and she is engaged. So she's getting married next summer. So we've been doing some wedding planning. And then my other sister, Amber, is a photographer. She's a mom. She has two of the cutest babies, Blakely and Tenley, who are my nieces. And yeah, we have a lot of fun. We're best friends. I love having sisters. So I will try to get them on my channel. Maybe they'll film a video with me. A lot of you guys are asking where I met my husband. I met him in college. It was the first weekend of our freshman year. It was like freshman orientation, and we were at some type of event where they were having us meet all of the other students. It was so awkward, but I'm pretty sure it was required at the time. So he and his friends actually came up and introduced themselves to me and my friends, and we just became friends, and then we started dating, and 2 years later we got engaged, and then like a year later we got married. I think I have like an extended version of that story in my assumptions about me video, but that's like the general gist of it. How tall are you? I am 5'4", so I'm not super tall, super short. I'm just kind of in the middle. Do people recognize you from your videos on a regular basis? I would say that it happens occasionally. It probably happens when it happens the most when I'm at like Ulta or Sephora and I'm just shopping for makeup, and I'll like run into one of you guys who are shopping for makeup, and that's like the most fun because I love when we get to be able to like shop together, chat about makeup. It happens randomly, usually when I'm like traveling, like if I'm in a city where there are a lot of people, I feel like there's a higher likelihood that I'll bump into one of you guys, but I always love it. It's so much fun. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, I think it's so much fun to be able to meet you guys. Info about lash extensions. So I love my lash extensions, and I'm glad that I do because I feel like there was very mixed feedback when I first said that I was getting them, not on my experience, but on your experience. And some of you guys have loved yours, some of you guys have hated yours. I love mine. I think that they make life so much easier. I love doing makeup, but there are some days where I just don't want to be bothered. So I feel like they make everything really quick and easy because I can throw on like concealer and maybe I'll like throw on brow gel. And because I have lash extensions, I feel like, I don't know, I guess I just feel like glamorous and more put together, and I just go for like a little bit more of like a natural look. They're pretty long, but they're not like overly dramatic. I did just get them filled like a couple of days ago, which is why they look a little bit more full, but as they like start to fall out, I feel like they do look pretty natural. And at first I wasn't sure if I was going to keep them on for a while, but after I gave myself a break, which was back in August, I didn't feel like they did a whole lot of damage. So I feel like I will give myself a break here and there, but I love them. I think they're really fun. Do you ever miss non-cruelty-free products? You know, to be honest with you guys, I don't. I feel like I thought I would miss them a lot more than I actually do. The thought of going cruelty-free was so daunting to me at first because I felt like a lot of brands weren't cruelty-free. But now that I've been in it for a few years, I really don't miss non-cruelty-free brands and non-cruelty-free products. At this point, I've been able to find replacements for everything that I was using that wasn't cruelty-free. And I feel like there are just so many makeup brands and launches, and there's so much to keep up with that I feel like if I want something that's not cruelty-free, chances are a brand that I love that is cruelty-free has something similar or will come out with something similar in the future. So weirdly enough, I don't. I feel like I'm set. What is your sign? I am a Taurus. I do feel like I'm a pretty typical Taurus from what I've read. I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to the signs and characteristics, but from what I've read, I feel like it definitely, like the typical Taurus characteristics do fit me. What inspires you when creating content, looks or video ideas? So I feel like I usually get my inspiration from the comment section on my videos. I always write down your suggestions, whether you guys are recommending a certain product or a video idea, and I try to do the majority of them if possible. So that's a big one for me. Sometimes other creators, I watch a lot of YouTube, and if somebody has a really fun video idea and I think it would be fun to film my version, I definitely do that, and I try to make sure I always give credit because I don't feel like I'm very creative with video ideas. I feel like there are some people that are so good with coming up with content. Like some of my favorite people are like Kelly Gooch and Samantha March, and I love their videos, and Emily Noel, and they always have interesting topics. So sometimes if they come up with something really interesting that catches my eye, I love to be able to like create my own version of that. So I do get inspiration from other creators. Sometimes makeup products inspire me. If I get something that I really love, I just feel excited to film a video about it. Do you use meal delivery? I do get HelloFresh once in a while, maybe like once or twice a month. It really depends on the recipes. I always look through them like a month at a time, and then if it's something new or exciting, I'll get it. If not, I'll skip it. We do the vegetarian plan, so I feel like a lot of the meals are just like very vegetable based, which is great, but I also feel like I can recreate a lot of them for a more affordable price. I honestly hate cooking so much, so I don't enjoy doing it, but my husband loves cooking and he loves trying new things, so he really likes it. So we usually do get it like once or twice a month. If you were to have a channel that wasn't makeup or beauty related, what would it be? That's a fun question. I think it would be fun to have a vlog channel. My husband and I actually used to vlog back in the day, like when we were engaged and then when we first got married. I had a vlog channel. I think it's still up and there are a few videos that are maybe public, but I put the majority of them on private just because we were so young at that point and we weren't really like concerned about privacy. So we would just share like all kinds of personal information, like where we live and like where we work. And I actually do get those questions a lot. Like, what does your husband do? Like, where do you guys live? And that kind of stuff. And I feel like it's just like curiosity, but that's like, those are questions that I don't typically answer, just honestly for the sole purpose of safety and privacy. I've heard weird stories about people like showing up at a YouTuber's workplace or like calling and trying to get like their husband fired at their job. And I'm not saying you guys would ever do that. Don't get me wrong. I have an amazing community of subscribers, but I feel like once you put that information out on the internet, like it's out there. So even if you change your mind later and you regret doing that, you can't really take it back. And for me, I feel like one day we'll have a family. So even if I'm not necessarily concerned about us, which I am, I will definitely be concerned about like my future children. So I feel like I just kind of keep like some very personal details like that private. And, you know, I feel bad because I know people are just genuinely curious, but I feel like you just kind of have to err on the side of caution sometimes when it comes to the internet, because I know the majority of you are like so kind and sweet and loving and you just have like my best interests at mind, but it's not the case with everyone. Like, you don't exactly know who's watching your content online. So that's why I don't share like details about that part of our lives, because I do get comments and questions about that. So if you're ever wondering like why I avoid that, that's why. And that's why we've kind of put like a lot of those vlogs on private, but it was really fun when we did it. I think we just gave it up because we got full-time jobs. Like, we got married, we got full-time jobs, and it would literally just be us vlogging from like we'd get home from work and we'd be so tired, we would like go get pizza and then go to bed. So it wasn't really very interesting. And I just feel like for a vlog channel, I don't know, it would be fun for sure, but I feel like we don't really do anything that would be like so intriguing and that would create like really fun content. On occasion we do. So like maybe if we ever take like a trip to New York City, I can do that. But yeah, I just love my beauty channel. Do you see yourself doing YouTube for long? Yeah, I love YouTube. I love filming YouTube videos. It is so much fun. I think maybe down the line my content will evolve and I'll include something different, because I do love beauty. I love makeup, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of getting like sick of makeup videos, but I love filming them. I think it is so much fun, but I think down the line I'd probably like to include something different just to mix it up, but I'll film YouTube videos as long as you guys will watch them. Okay, this question says, why do you never talk about Jeffree Star Cosmetics? They're cruelty-free and vegan. I do get this question on occasion, and they are, or his brand is, but to be honest with you guys, I avoid a lot of brands. I don't talk about a lot of brands on my channel, and it's for a reason. If you don't see a brand on my channel, it's probably not because it just kind of like flew under my radar, maybe, but I feel like a lot of times it is a very conscious choice on my part. And there are different reasons why I don't talk about different brands, but as a whole, like, because I get questions about like Morphe, Kylie Cosmetics, not as much Lime Crime, but I did get those questions in the past, Kat Von D, Jeffree Star. I just really avoid a lot of controversial brands for different reasons. And to be honest with you guys, there are so many makeup brands out there, so many brands that I love and that I want to support with my money, but also my voice. I do have a platform where people watch my YouTube videos, and I feel like I want to be able to bring light to brands that I think are worth bringing light to. It's tough because there's always so much drama surrounding so many different brands and brand owners and just scandals and different situations. And I don't make it a point to necessarily like always check up on the brands and keep up with all the drama, but I feel like when there's something very prominent or very justified or very polarizing, I usually skip over the brand. I don't even want to bring attention to it on my channel, and I just don't want to support it anyways, like personally. I'm not somebody who will ever tell you guys what you should do with your money, because you are totally free to do whatever you want. You can make your own decisions when it comes to money and brands, and the majority of people who watch my videos, like, you guys are grown adults, and I have full faith in you that you can do what works well for you. That's why I would never tell somebody like they have to go cruelty free or they have to use this brand, because that's just not how it is. You guys are capable of making choices that work well for you, and you can be a conscious consumer in your own way. But for me personally, I just choose to avoid controversial brands. Some reasons, what am I trying to say? Some of the reasons why they're considered controversial are justified, some might not be. But overall, I just really try to bring light to brands that are doing a good job overall. I did get some questions similar to this one. Have your religious views changed or fluctuated as you've grown up? I feel like that's always a little bit of a touchy subject, but I mean, yeah, for sure. I feel like, are any of us really the same, or do any of us really believe everything that we were taught when we were younger? And I've touched on it before, but I did grow up in a pretty like strict religious background, and things have definitely changed since then. I mean, when you're young, you're impressionable and you just kind of go along with what you're taught because that's all you know. But as you grow older, I think that you do have a responsibility to grow and research and decide, you know, if you do believe that or if you just kind of went along with what you were taught. I don't really hold a lot of the views that I did when I was little, or I guess the views that I was taught to believe, because when you're little, you can't really make up your mind for yourself. You have to grow up and form your own views and your own opinions and your own thoughts and decide what you believe to be true. So I feel like things have definitely changed. And I think overall, things are just a lot more simplified. I grew up in a way that there were just so many rules and everything was very rule oriented and strict, and everything was just based on like following a set of rules, and everybody was very judgmental, and that is not something that I want to be a part of as an adult. Things are so much more simple. Okay guys, that's the end of my video for now. I've been sitting here for a while. It's getting very, very hot under these lights, so I think I'm going to cut it off there, but I hope I was able to answer some of your questions, and I hope you guys were able to get to know me a little bit better. I will definitely film these, you know, more often every once in a while, so I can answer some new questions and you guys will be able to just get some more insight into who I am. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye.